Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel, Living in Charlotte, NC. If you are considering making a move to Charlotte or just coming here for a visit, you've come to the right channel. We're all about informing people of things to do, people to see, places to go in the Charlotte region. And today what we're going to do is give you a tour of the Billy Graham Library, so stick around. Dave DeSilva with Long Tab Realty, brokered by eXp Realty right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. If this is your first time coming to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and you'll be one of the first to know when we put out a new video. We get calls, emails, texts all the time from folks just like you wondering what it's like to move to Charlotte, live in Charlotte, visit Charlotte. We describe the suburbs, the neighborhoods, the restaurants, athletic events, all sorts of things that are going to help you decide if this is the right place for you. We also talk about some of the stuff that's not so great. Maybe what do you call it, the good, bad, and the ugly. In this video, we're not going to necessarily talk about the bad and the ugly. That's for another video down the road. So whether you're thinking of moving here in 10 days, 10 weeks, or 10 months, please go ahead, leave a comment, or better yet, get on a Zoom call. We've got the description, or we've got a link in the description down below, and you and I will talk, and I'll help answer any questions you might have about the marketplace here in Charlotte, or about just things to do if you come for a visit. So please go ahead, consider getting on that Zoom call. We'd love to talk to you. And as I said, what we're doing today is stepping out and gonna go talk about and see about one of the most influential people in Charlotte's history, and that's Billy Graham. And how we're going to do that is, of course, by going to the Billy Graham Library, which is just off of the Billy Graham Highway. Isn't that appropriate? I'm on the way to the Charlotte Douglas International Airport. And so stick around here. We're getting ready to jump into one of the must-see locations in Charlotte. Okay, so located just a few miles west of Charlotte, just a few miles outside of Charlotte, the Billy Graham Library is more than just a library. It's going to take you on a journey through the life of Billy Graham. And Billy Graham, you probably all heard his name, but for those of you who may not, he is an evangelist. He is a world-renowned gospel preacher that he started his career right here in Charlotte. And actually, I should say he started his career right here in North Carolina. He did happen to live in Charlotte for a good long time. The library is obviously here, but he has bounced around a little bit in his lifetime. We claim him. And as an FYI, if you do decide to go to the library, and I'll leave a link, www.billygrahamlibrary.com down below. But if you do decide to go, just realize there's no cost to it. I mean, you do have to make an appointment. It can get filled up pretty quickly, but there's no cost. There's a lot of walking, there's sitting, there's a lot of benches there, theater style seating. So wear comfortable clothes and definitely wear comfortable shoes. So here we go. Billy Graham's life started in 1918, and he lived as a child right in a home off of Park Road just on the west side of Charlotte. That home really wasn't just a home, it was actually a dairy farm. So you're going to see the humble beginnings that shaped the life of a man whose word and presence affected millions of people around the globe. So from his conversion at a local revival meeting to his theological days in Florida, and later on at Wheaton College where he would meet his wife Ruth, Billy's early life set the stage for his calling as a preacher. People just knew back then, and I think he probably had a feeling back then too, that being a preacher and spreading the gospel was going to be his life's calling. And eventually, and we'll talk from start to end, but eventually he and his wife Ruth and their 5 children made their home in Montreat, North Carolina, which is just, again, maybe 90 minutes west of Charlotte and just south of, or actually just north of Black Mountain. So beautiful town there, lived in a modest home, and that's where he spent most of his life with his family. So this pretty much informal tour starts with an introduction from Bessie the Talking Cow. Yes, you heard me right, Bessie the Talking Cow. And as an FYI, you're going to see off to the right, or actually your right, the left of Bessie, a little kitty who doesn't talk, but looks extremely lifelike and is moving around and giving you the eyeball. So we got Bessie the Talking Cow and a little kitty. And what they're doing is giving you an introduction of how the tour is going to go, things to see, the highlights, and how you should behave on the tour. It covers Graham's days of preaching, his large-scale crusades across the globe, as a matter of fact, and his role as a spiritual advisor. And one of the things that I remember from way back before I really had a good concept of who Billy Graham was, I had heard that he was the advisor, spiritual advisor, counselor to presidents. And it didn't matter party, affiliation, wartime, peacetime. He was the advisor to presidents and the counselor to many presidents along the way. You'll see all those photos at the library. And speaking of photos, while you're there, and this is next to my script, guys, so while you're there, you're going to see photos of Billy Graham with some of the most known people in the world, including people like Muhammad Ali, Indira Gandhi, multiple presidents, including Donald Trump, George Bush, the Bill Clinton presidency was well represented in the photos, and just so many others around the world. Now, that's not the key to his preaching. He also touched base with what you might call the common man, the masses. And there's photos of him just sitting on the sidewalk or sitting on a bench, talking to a guy in one of those with a construction helmet, talking to 2 or 3 other just normal people out in society. So he wasn't just there for the high-end muckety-mucks, as one of my high school friends used to say, but he was there for everybody, there for the masses. And by the way, this tour is pretty much self-paced. You could go in a group setting, but if you want to stay behind and read some of the placards, there's a lot of information to absorb as you go through. It can definitely take you 2 hours plus. I think they say it's about a 90-minute tour, but it definitely can take you a little bit longer. Don't worry about missing anything. There's a lot of video going on where there's Billy Graham, Franklin Graham, other people talking about his life, about his crusades, about the gospel. But if you're missing one of the videos here because you're reading something over here, don't worry about it. That video is going to continue to replay. So great opportunity to relax and learn quite a bit about Billy Graham and what he brought to the world. And photos are allowed, no flashes, so take all the photos you want. One thing I'll mention too, and this is about Charlotte, so I'm going to mention this about Charlotte, is Billy Graham Museum is extremely unique. However, it's not the only unique museum or setting that you can go to if you're visiting the Charlotte area or if you come to move here. You've got presidential museums like the Polk Museum down in Pineville. Andrew Jackson's got a place. You've got Discovery Place, Mint Museum, all sorts of places like that where you can go and spend hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, just within 15, 20 minutes of Charlotte or right uptown. You've got the NASCAR Hall of Fame, again, where you can take tours and learn about the history of the area, and learn about the culture. So this is just one of the great ones. And what I'd love to see is you guys send me some comments. Let me know which of those type places you want to hear about, or shoot, leave me a comment and tell me what you thought about some of those places. So with over 215 million people reached personally with his preaching, his crusades, he also reached another approximately 2 billion people with his radio shows and his TV shows. I believe one of his shows was an hourly show he had for a number of years. I really can't tell you the dates of that, but he reached 2 billion people with those shows. And because of that, Billy Graham's voice and his mannerisms became a beacon of faith and hope for many people around the world.
If you're willing to accept the challenge of Christ, who loved you so much that he died on the cross and rose again and is alive tonight, ready to come into your heart and into your life.
Billy Graham did go to every continent in the world, and many of his events where he hosted over 200,000 people. I think one event, which was his biggest event, had about 1.1 million people, spanning, a huge, I was going to say, it might have been, what is it called? Central Park in New York City. But he had, just hundreds of thousands of people at some of these events. So as you walk through the library, you're presented with several rooms with highlights of Billy Graham's life and highlight the contributions that he made to bringing the gospel to the world. Billy Graham's personal life is also highlighted here at the library. So after he married Ruth Bell, who was I think her parents were Chinese missionaries, and she actually was born in China. But after they married together, they raised 5 children and embedded strong Christian values to this day in those children. And as you probably know or have heard, Franklin Graham has kind of stepped in the position that his father had as the preaching guru or the chief guru for the Billy Graham organization. And I also believe I mentioned that much of the family's early life, when they had their kids, was spent up in Montreat, up in, 90 miles west of Charlotte. I think I already said that once, so sorry if I'm repeating myself. Now, his Charlotte home, the one I mentioned that was off of Park Road and built in the 20s, I believe it may have been built in 1920 or 1927, but that was eventually taken down, taken apart, and put back together again, and it's on the grounds of the library, and you can tour that. That's pretty cool too. Some of the furniture in there is, I believe we were told that some of it's actual, a lot of it's just replica furniture, but there's great pictures. It kind of shows you from the real estate side, the size of home that was available at that time to somebody with 5 kids. And it's not a mansion. It's a pretty good size home, I'm sure, for that time, but very small kitchen, small rooms. It's really neat to see, and it's great to see some of the pictures. And that home and all these pictures really do kind of tell a story about the man behind the pulpit, as well as the support staff that he had. Some famous people, and then some everyday workers who he really gave praise to as helping him make the contributions that he made to the world. So after immersing yourself in his spiritual journey, and this spiritual journey or his spiritual journey, go ahead and check out the Graham Brothers Dairy. It offers a great spot to reflect and enjoy a meal, and a nod to Billy's farm and dairy roots. Also right there is Ruth's Attic Bookstore, and that offers probably more Bibles than I've ever seen, of different sizes, sorts, and colors, and size print. I know that for sure. But it also offers like spiritual literature and gifts that continue to inspire. And one last thing, as you come out of the main part of the tour in the library, there's something that's kind of unique there. It's a prayer room. And so you can go into this prayer room once you get done, if you're kind of so moved to do so, and either do it solo or have a staff member come in with you, pray with you. Some people are into that, some people are not, but it's a great opportunity maybe to go in and reflect on what you've seen. So fantastic. Once you get back outside, if you do start inside, then go back outside, you're going to see a number of paths and trails. And these paths and trails are not just for walking. They are really a journey through the landscape that shaped young Billy Graham into a world-renowned evangelist. So think about that as you're going down these paths to different locations, and we'll get to those in a second. Okay, so in all, other than the indoor library section, there are 4 other areas to visit on the grounds. They are, number 1, the Graham family home place, which is the home that was moved from Park Road up to the library area. We talked about that a little bit earlier. And that's the place actually where Billy Graham's mom, or mother, Morrow, lived from 1927 until she passed away in 1981. Then there's the Memorial Prayer Garden. This serene garden honors Graham's legacy. It's a quiet place for reflection, surrounded by natural beauty that he cherished all the time. He always loved being outside, loved reading, loved prayer. But here visitors can feel that connection to Graham, his enduring message of hope and love. Both he and Ruth passed away in 2008, but both he and Ruth are buried there side by side. When he passed away in 2018, that was their wish, to be buried side by side, and that's how it is today. There's also the Dairy Bar, which we mentioned. Again, that pays honor to their farming background, their dairy background. And the last thing is the Billy Kim Hall. And Billy Kim was Billy Graham's interpreter when they went to Seoul, Korea, or South Korea. I think in Seoul they drew an enormous amount of people to one of their crusades, but he was his interpreter. And when they went to South Korea, they had over 1 million people attracted to their event, and that was his largest in-person event of all time. So to honor Billy Kim, they had a hall erected. And as I said, you can just walk around out there on those little short paths and contemplate, enjoy the outdoors. When I was there with my mom and my wife recently, it was one of those perfect Charlotte days, about 77 degrees, tiny bit of clouds, awesome blue sky. I don't say Carolina blue, I say Wolfpack blue sky. Go Pack. But it was just an awesome day, and so grateful to be able to go through that environment on that sort of a Carolina day. So before we go on a little any further, if you like what you're hearing, please, press that like button, consider that. I already talked about subscribing, so you'll know when we put out more videos, but really we would love to hear your comments. If you've been to Charlotte, if you want to come to Charlotte, what do you hear about that you want to see? If you've been here, what do you like? I get a lot of comments about things people don't like, leave that too, but this is feel-good video, so let us know what you would like to see, what you have liked when you've been here. Okay, and so when you get finished with your tour, or before you go, you want to learn about some of the highlights, you can check it out on the website. It's www.billygrahamlibrary. So check out that. And then another great website to go to if you're finding things to do in Charlotte, and also there's information on the library in there, is charlottesgotalot.com. So we'll try to stick those down below or in the description. That's Billy Graham Library and charlottesgotalot.com. 2 great places to go. And as I was saying earlier, one of the great things was, picking out a great day to go. And Charlotte's got a lot of great days. That's why I love this the area around here. You know, you can walk around the Billy Graham Library area. It's off the roadway. You're not hearing the hustle and bustle of traffic. Surprisingly, it is right near the airport, fairly close to the Charlotte Douglas International Airport, one of the largest in the country. And I don't remember hearing any planes. I know they went over, maybe I'm used to it, but I don't remember hearing any planes. So very peaceful location, peaceful place. So like the bottom line is the Billy Graham Library isn't just a testament to preserving history, or isn't just about preserving history. It's a living testament to a man who changed the world by bringing the gospel to millions and actually billions of people. And he was based right here out of Charlotte. So whether you're drawn by his impactful life or the beauty of the grounds, it's a place where anyone, local or visitor, can find some inspiration. Now, two things, and I've repeated these once already. If you've been there before to the Billy Graham Library or visited some other areas, some other places in the area that we should see, please leave comments. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And number two, if you're looking to learn more about Charlotte or considering making a move to the area, get with us. Talk to me by Zoom, send me a message, or subscribe to this channel. So thank you for spending time with us. I hope you enjoyed the video about Billy Graham and the Billy Graham Library. We do a lot more videos about living in Charlotte, from the hidden gems to the awesome suburbs and housing tips. I think I'm putting a video at the end. I was going to do one of these things where I had the video up in the air about Charlotte, but I'm going to put a video at the end that I think will be interesting to you. So please take a peek at that. Thanks for hanging around, and we'll see you next time.